Hey, I apologize for my awkward position here. I love this book so much that the book I created a post about earlier called The Hidden Gospel Decoding the Spiritual Message of Aramaic Jesus. I've read a lot of similar books and a lot of Gnostic texts and things like this. This is really good. I posted the Aramaic translation of the Lord's Prayer, and it was beautiful and made much more sense than the one we normally hear. Basically, I just want to read to you a little bit so you can get an idea of how interesting this is and how his interpretation seems to make a lot more spiritual sense, in my opinion, of things. The power of miracles, the idea of sacred unity, has everything to do with the stories of Jesus' miracles. The Western idea of a supernatural event takes for granted that nature is neither conscious nor sacred in the Middle Eastern view. However, events are always embedded in sacred unity, even when we don't understand their purpose. Let us look, for example, at the story of Jesus healing the deaf and dumb man in Mark 7:32 through 37. Here we find all the versions of the Gospels, including those from the Greek state, that he uses a healing word of power in Aramaic, eth patah, which is rendered to be opened. This word has resonance at least as far back as the old Egyptian god name, Ptah, who was also considered the opener or the open mouth that created the world. This aspect of Egyptian mysteries emphasized the process of opening to the divine, creating space, and then shaping it into words and actions for creation and for healing. Some part of this tradition may have survived in Jesus' time. Likewise, the biblical Hebrew uses another form of the word in the same sense as a creative opening to the sacred, as well as the expression of redemption, as in Psalm 118:19. Open to me the gates of righteousness, I will go into them, and I will praise the Lord. If we set the scene for this healing using the Aramaic version as the source, we find several details that take us to the heart of Yeshua's vision of the healing power of Allah. Yeshua took the man inside so the crowd could not see and place his fingers gently into the man's ears. This spiritual practice still exists in several traditions to this day, including that of the Middle Eastern Sufis. The effect is to turn the sensation of the sense around from the outer to the inner. One listens towards the inside rather than the outside and follows the body awareness of hearing back to its source. It is not really the ears that hear, but a capacity inside that interprets the vibrations as sound. Modern science identifies this capacity with part of the nervous system or brain, yet this does not explain how we organize the flood of vibrations we receive. In the ancient Middle East, the sacred sense, which interprets all individual senses, was called a Hokmah, or the Sophia in Greek, about whom more later. If the sacred is ultimately unity, there must be one sense to which all senses and sensations return. Next, as they breathed together, Yeshua drew closer, spat on the ground, and touched the man's tongue. By doing so, he united his sensing self with the other. Various healing traditions in the Middle East still use this type of body-to-body contact. The resonance of the healer's breathing brings the patient into the same rhythm. The aliveness of the healer's touch and the awareness brings those of the patient back into wholeness. Then, as Yeshua focused on the one source of all sensation and knowing, he raised his glance and awareness upward. He breathed one long and powerful breath with Shemaiah, the universe of vibration. In most translations of Mark 7:34, it is assumed that Jesus only looked up to heaven, but the phrase in Aramaic, Har Bashmaya, could easily mean that he contemplated or considered heaven, which in Aramaic and Hebrew refers to the universe of vibration, sound, and light. Finally, releasing his hands from the man's ears, Yeshua forcefully, Ephatah. This can mean not only be open to the healing power of sacred unity, but also expand, give up your small identity as a person. Without sound, clear the way, receive the healing power that is all around you. Allow yourself to be flooded by waves of sacred space, which give and receive all sound, hearing, and speech. Very interesting. See, this is why things, ladies and gentlemen, are always multi-layered. There's a very surface layer meaning, then there's an intermediate meaning, and then there is deeper and deeper meanings. And that's how to properly look at reality, in my opinion.